Shalawam, 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 Yasharahla. All praise it. Shabbat shalawam. I realized recently, well, not just really recently, quite some time now, but I've realized that due to a lack of knowledge, a lack of knowing who you are, our people seems to be finding themselves in a situation where it's as if they've become comfortable in oppression. Like I was saying to my act the other day, our people make oppression look good, revel in it, and not realizing that this is not our rest. What do I mean this is not our rest? We are the Israelites, we are the Jews. We are not in our own land to begin with. So how can you now know that you are an Israelite and you are at rest in the land of your captor? This is an impossible thing. Like them say, it's not real. It gone. It mash up. Come on now. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad. Because if you know that you are in oppression, you can't be happy about that. You're going to be angry about that, so you're going to be mad. So surely oppression maketh a wise man mad. So what about the man who is not mad? Rather than me saying it, the scripture just say him unwise. Because the wise man is not going to be running around singing and dancing around here, knowing he's in oppression, knowing he's in the land of his oppressor, the one that has got his boot on his neck. Wisdom. But let's go have a look at Micah. Let's go have a look at Micah and see what Micah has to say about this. So we want Malachi chapter 2 and verse 10, Israel. And Malachi chapter 2 and 10 says, Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted, and it shall destroy you even with a sore destruction. Depart from what? Depart from the society. Depart from these people. Depart from their way of life. Otherwise, as the prophet says, it will destroy you with a sore destruction. So from top, Micah chapter 2 and 10. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction, Israel. So we need to depart out of the mentality of our oppressors. Let's go have a look in the Apocrypha. Let's go to the Apocrypha on this one. We want Baruch. Yeah, we want the book of Baruch, chapter 3 and verse 8. Baruch chapter 3 and verse 8. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity. Come on now, Israel, man. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payment according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which depart from the Lord our God. I'm going to break that down a little bit. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity. Like I says, we're in the land of our oppressors. We don't control nothing. Where thou hast scattered us. Scattered. Who's the thou? The Most High God scattered us. Why? Because of our unbelief. Because of our disrespect. Because of us not sticking with the agreement that we made with him in the wilderness with Moses. We did say we will obey, but we have not. So the Most High scattered us. How? Via us being conquered and then scattered throughout the world in multiple slave trades. And like I always say, the most recent, the transatlantic slave trade, that Pacific, that triangular slave trade, scattered us throughout the earth. But this was already happening via the prior slavery that we ended up in. But all this is punishment. All this thing is known. This is an offshoot of not keeping the law of the Most High. So we get the curses that come along with not holding up our end of the bargain that we agreed to obey. So I read that again, Israel. Baruch chapter 3 and verse 8. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payment according to all iniquities of our fathers which depart from the Lord our God. Subject to payment. You know, see how you have to work around here. A man have to work, yeah, we know that. But we just work aimlessly right about now. Because why? We are subject to payment. This is a part of the curse. So if you're not in the curse, guess what? When you're not in the curse, you are not subject to payment. What that mean? And you own everything. So you're not pay for nothing when you own everything. But a part of the curse is to be subject to payment in the land of your captor, the land of your oppressor. That man of perdition. We know that man. Let's jump out of the Apocrypha and we can have a quick check at Ezra. Brother Ezra. Chapter 9 and verse 7, Israel. Since the days of our fathers have we been in a great trespass unto this day, and for our iniquities have we, our king and our priests, been delivered into the hand of the kings of the lands, to the sword, to the captivity, and to a spoil, and to confusion of face, as it is this day. So again, these things did happen a long time. It's been a while now since we've been dragged through the mud through multiple different forms of slavery, right? And scattered throughout. So I'll read that one more time just for clarification. Since the days of our fathers have we been in a great trespass. From the days of our fathers, we're not keeping the laws. So we have been in trespass, we're in sin. Until this day, and for our iniquities, sins, have we, the nation, our kings and our priests, been delivered into the hand of the kings of the land. Meaning you're conquered. We've given up to them. The Most High allowed it to happen. So this is why I keep saying. I say it over and over again. Don't give these nations too much credit. Yeah, we are in a situation now that is dire. Yeah, we have been trampled on. Through no one's fault but our own. But even so still, they only got this far because the Most High wanted it that way. Because at the end of the day, they can't buck up on us. Come on now. None of them can buck up on us. Come on now. So don't give them too much credit for nothing. The Most High will. These curses, we broke the laws, so, you know, all them things that Moses was telling them in Deuteronomy 28:15 downwards, yeah, that's the curses. All them things are upon us because we've broken the law. So, yeah, we're paying for it. But don't give them too much credit because still, if it wasn't the Most High will, it wouldn't have happened. So it's not because of them. So again, don't give them too much credit. So lucky for the rant, Israel. Let's go have a look at Deuteronomy chapter 28 and 15. Just to clarify what was just being said right there in Ezra. So it's Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So we were just reading that a while ago, them curses, yeah? It has overtaken us, it's dominating us. Okay, we know why that is happening. We broke the law. So we just need to correct it. Let's work on correcting it. How? By starting to keep these laws, implementing these laws, because this is all we need. Once we have this, no one comes up against us. We're not going to be the tail anymore. We're going to go back to being the head. Okay. So let's jump back to Baruch. Let's go back into the Apocrypha for a minute. I want to get this scripture out. This is Baruch chapter 2. And we're going to start from 1 and go to verse 3. Baruch chapter 2, verse 1. Therefore the Lord has made good his word, which he pronounced against us, and against our judges, and that judged Israel, and against our kings, and against our princes, and against the men of Israel and Judea, or Judah. Salakia. To bring upon us great plagues, such as never happened under the whole heaven, as it came to pass in Jerusalem, according to the things that were written in the law of Moses. I shall read that again, verse 2. To bring upon us great plagues, such as never happened unto the whole heaven, that has never happened under the whole heaven, as it came to pass in Jerusalem, according to the things that were written in the law of Moses. The curses. The things that were written in the law of Moses. What would happen to us if we transgressed the Most High's law, which we indeed have done. Our fathers have done, and we have been doing right up until this day. So the curses have been poured out upon us. And the curses are exactly what is happening to us today. Whether you're looking at the slave trade, you know, because it's a quick reference, you can just run to there. All the way up until now. All these things are occurring. It's happening to us because we broke the law. When you look in the scriptures, it makes it clear. This is why it's happening. We broke the law, and this is the consequence of breaking the law. So let's move on. Verse 3. That a man should eat the flesh of his own son and the flesh of his own daughter. Now, this is how bad this thing's going to be. That's what he's saying. It got so bad. And all these things have happened. Possibly it's going to happen again. But it's already happened. You know? So we go into the book of Deuteronomy just to show that it has happened. I want Deuteronomy 28 in verse 53. And it says, And thou shalt eat the fruit of thine own body. What's the fruit of the body? Your kids. Your children. We literally just read that a while ago in Baruch. Did not this happen? Yes. And why would this happen if we broke the law? So it happened. It's come to pass. Why? Because we broke the law. Consequence of not keeping up the agreement that we made with the dread and terrible and loving God, the Most High Yahweh, He who exists. So let's step back a bit in Deuteronomy 28 and have a look at verse 49, and I'll go through to verse 50. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Again, whatever you need in life, you'll have to turn to your oppressor. Whether you are hungry, you've got to turn to him for food. If you're thirsty, you've got to get something to drink, whether it's go purchasing a drink from the shop or just the water that comes to your top at your home, your place of abode. Right? And in nakedness, because even the clothes, we don't really provide our own clothes. You might have a couple designers out there, but they're not providing nothing. And in want of all things, whatever it may be that you want. Whether you want to say you want to go get higher education, you want to travel, you're going to get a visa, you want to get married, it's a certificate, in a dead, it's a certificate. Well, you got to go to them that control things in order to get this. Right? So again, you have no control over nothing. And what that is also going into is you being subject to payment. Because if we owned any of this, we don't have to pay for it. So we wouldn't be subject to payment. So why are we subject to payment on this level? Because we broke the laws of God and we have to go through the curses that are attached to breaking the laws of God. You're still not sure that you're the Israelite yet. All right, let's go down. No folly. Let's go to jump up a little bit to verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword amongst all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee. Okay, we are an astonishment. People look at us in awe. Yeah, we are a proverb. Niggas love watermelon. And a byword. Jamaican, Black British, Black American, the whole lot. Calling everything or calling yourself outside of your nation, outside of your biblical name. Anything outside of that is a byword. Yeah. Among all nations, and this is among all nations, they call us all sort of thing. The so-called African man call us Akata. Which means the same thing, Among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee. Again, we read earlier on, the Most High led us into captivity. Don't give them too much credit. Yeah, it happened, but don't give them too much credit, because if the Most High never have that will, it wouldn't happen. Again, them can't buck up on us. We know this. Slack here. Alright. Let's go down to verse 41. In verse 41. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. Again, it's just more the laws. These things just come out because we broke these laws, man. And as we know, the big gunner down there at 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again, with ships by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen, bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Buy mean redeem, old Quaker term for redeem. So no one's going to be redeeming us out of none of this except for a Mashiach Yahushai. In order to get a proper breakdown on these curses, just jump back to my class on who are the Israelites. It's in the it's there. It's in the playlist. So yeah, Israel. I think I'll end it there for this class. So this is not our rest. This is not our rest. Don't get you can't be complacent. There's no way you can be comfortable in this. How can you be comfortable in this when you know who you are? You know what you're supposed to be doing. And you're under your oppressor's boot. You can't be comfortable. How can you be comfortable in this? It's insanity. But again, the Most High did say that we were going to walk away. We were going to go away from what he has given us because of lack of knowledge, lack of understanding. So all praises to the Most High, Yahweh Ba Hashem Mashiach Kwam Yalak Yahweh Shai. We will chat shortly, Israel. Shabbat Shalawam.